So, it's Hallie. Welcome back to club meetings. When we last left off, Natsuri happened. And now that I've had a week to think and reflect on these events, I've decided, no sir, I don't like it. I don't think Natsuki and Yuri would gravitate toward each other naturally. I think it only happened because the author wanted it to. I don't think it's appropriate for, like, a canon setting where the characters are supposed to be themselves. And I also didn't think it was appropriate for a mod of this sort, where it's supposed to be, like, a for everyone thing, and now it's, like, decidedly a for only the subsection of the fandom that approves of Natsuri thing. And I told them all that back in my Season 2 review, although it was already too late by then anyway. But yeah, so, yep, that's how I feel about that. But we're still gonna play the rest of it. And now I guess we get to read a bunch of emails praising this narrative choice.
Manga, I would like to cash in my turn to decide what we do. Of course, Natsuki. What will we...
I cannot talk.
What will we be doing today? We will not be doing anything today. Just me. I will be saying this. Yes, Yuri and I are dating. We have been dating since the end of our school last year. And we didn't tell you guys earlier because I didn't want to. I was being weird about it. Yuri wanted to, but I didn't. You didn't need to say that. No, I did. I think it's important they know that. And it will help me feel better about having done that. Anyway, yeah, now you guys know. I'm so happy! I knew you guys would be happy together! And I know it wasn't official until now, but I think I kind of knew. Even before we found you kissing last time. I can't wait to tell everyone! Sayori, I did not hear that we could tell everyone. Congratulations though, by the way, girls. I'm very happy for you. I always knew you two were very close. But Sayori, you can't just assume it's okay to tell everyone. Well, I'm still trying to kind of ease into telling people. I don't want to just come out with it all at once to everyone. So I'd appreciate you guys keeping it to yourselves between us in the club. Until I tell you it's all clear anyway. Is that cool? Yeah, of course. That's okay with us.
I'm really happy for you guys. You had definitely pulled the wool over my eyes, at least. I mean, I know we were constantly memeing that, oh, Natsuki and Yuri are a thing, but I didn't think it was actually happening. I guess I just figured, hey, Natsuki says she likes boys, and that's that.
Well, I do like boys.
Ah, okay, so...
Yes, bisexual. It has been decided!
Decided is the right word.
But honestly, I just like Yuri. She's... You don't have to explain it to us. We know all about how great Yuri is. And how happy you two are to be around each other. Now, of course, I am not sure whether this will result in more or fewer fights between you and the club. But I am certain that I'm very glad you're together, whichever way it goes. I've had my suspicions for a long time, and I've often thought you would make each other very happy. I wish you happiness and love. As do I. Please be careful and take good care of each other and yourselves. I intended to take excellent care of her, and she certainly takes excellent care of me. Yeah. Anyway, can we move on with club now? I know you guys will probably want to ask a million questions, but we can do that later. I kind of want to keep my routine going with our normal club stuff. Yes, of course. The only thing we have left to do is emails today. So while Sayori sets that up, a reminder that you can send us emails for us to read and discuss in club. Just send them to that place. And that's also the place to email if you want to join our Discord server with some of the coziest people on the internet. Myself included. Now then, we'll just give Sayori a bit to finish preparing the emails, and then we'll get right to it. And doubtless we'll use the transition time the game usually puts in to prepare our new couple with questions. Here we go! Okay, Chief, we're good to go. We're fired up. We are online. Thank you, Sayori. Let's see the first one.
Hi, Yuri. Are picture books considered literature to you? Thanks for the response if I get one. Sincerely, Joshua.
It would depend on how focal the pictures are. If the book is primarily conveying its content through words with occasional pictures, then certainly it's literature. Basically, my test is this. If you take away everything that isn't text, is what remains coherent? Is its message intact? Do you get essentially the same content? If so, it's literature.
If I take away all the pictures from my picture book and that cripples it, it's not literature anymore. I hope this answers your question on this critical issue.
Thank you for replying to my last email. My voice, what's wrong with me? My throat's all scratchy. Just a sec. Thank you for replying to my last email. I've been told that it's okay to send more than one email without having to wait for it to be answered by the club first, so I wanted to ask more questions. First, I want to ask about some pieces of media. Monica, have you ever watched or heard about a movie called Pt.3-33, also known as Swimming to Sea? I feel like the themes it presents and the directions it goes would really resonate with you, even if it's about completely different circumstances than your own. If you haven't watched it yet and want to, it's available on Steam of all places. Do be emotionally prepared though. If you've already seen it or watched it between reading this email and answering it, I would love to hear what you thought.
Ugh, I watched this. It was really depressing. Every character was mostly powerless to affect their fate for the whole movie. It was such a struggle just to get one character to a place where they could meaningfully affect things. And so many terrible things happened in the interim. You know, I think part of the impact of the film is that it's cartoony CGI in large part. Your brain is primed to think that's going to be a feel-good story in the end. But then it's not, mostly. But it was certainly well told. And animated very nicely, I might add. Still, depressing. I guess that's not much of a take, but that's what I got out of it. Let's see the next part of the question.
On the complete opposite of the emotional spectrum, Natsuki, have you ever heard of a webcomic called Cucumber Quest? It's not particularly well known, and likely never will be, considering that it was sadly cancelled partway through the story. For that reason, I can't fully recommend it as something you should read, but both its aesthetic and the message of the story feels very you, if that makes sense. If you ever read it, even partially, I'd love to hear what you thought.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. But I checked out a bit of the archive and yeah, it looks awesome. I can see why you thought I'd like it. It has a lot in common with Parquet Girls. I bookmarked it. I'll probably binge it later. Although it's kind of a bummer that it got abandoned. I really need my stories to have endings, you know.
Second, I wanted to ask, if Monica is the president, Sayori is the vice president, Yuri is the secretary, and Natsuki is the treasurer, what does that make MC? Historian? Sergeant at arms? He's never had a week as president like the others, which is another thing I'm curious about, so it's never been said aloud. Well, I mean, it's not like every club member needs a role. So I'm the member at large, which means I have voting power, but that I don't have any particular formal duties like everyone else does. All my duties are informal.
Like letting me have bites of your sweets.
Like that, yes. I have only been the club president once, at the very beginning of all this. I probably could do it again, but...
But the game reacts strangely when people other than the 4 original literary club members are president. So we don't have MC or be the president unless it's somehow an emergency or something. It's a similar thing with Masita, except she's not a curve file person, so the game really didn't like it when she was president.
But MC didn't have a curve file either. Shouldn't the game have broken in the same way when you made him president?
MC was a bit of a unique case since he sort of existed in the base game as the player character. So a bunch of weird stuff that would never happen to anyone else happened to him. He's unique. He's very unique. He certainly is.
Third and finally, Miss Ida, when are you planning on selling Monica to the government so that they can contain and study her as an anomalous entity? Haha, just kidding. My real question is how you feel about being the only full-grown adult among a group of kids with the ability to literally rewrite reality. Personally, I think it's a very good idea to have someone with more life experience there to give input, especially when playing God. Thank you for reading.
Hey, I'd certainly never sell Monica to the government, even if I could. Besides, they'd never believe it. And I think Monica would be beyond their power to control.
Probably, yes.
You know, in a way, I think it's a good thing that this terrible thing happens to you, Monica. It's taught you a pretty important lesson about power. And you have a lot of power. So I think Monica would never again abuse her power in the way she has. She's learned too well what the consequences are. And I believe she now understands the serious responsibilities she has.
I do.
Hopefully, Edie Mailer, my presence here helps somewhat. I do have more life experience, for whatever that may be worth. So I like to think that I'm a bit of a stabilizing influence on everyone, not just Monica.
You are, Masita! We love you!
Thanks, Sayori. Shall we move on to the next email?
We shall.
Hello. I apologize in advance. if this gets too wordy. I've pretty much binged both seasons of this phenomenal mod/series after falling down the rabbit hole that is DDLC earlier this year, and have some thoughts I don't know who else to inflict upon. Edits were attempted, but hopefully the Literature Club isn't intimidated by text walls. I suppose it should feel strange to be emailing a group of supposedly fictional characters, though at the same time, there's a larger part, one I've finally begun listening more to as I get older, that's tired and done with worrying about what is or is not considered strange by those defining the boundaries of that word, both in my own personal life and outside of it. As such, people seem increasingly to not know in the slightest what the hell they're talking about. Valuing oneself enough to trust your own decisions should be common practice for any normal adult, perhaps, but this was a relatively recent development and took many, many years for me to realize, and one I'm still working on getting used to. Growing up in an environment framed by constant self-doubt and the notion that discussing feelings or emotions was somehow a weakness will do that, I suppose. So I wanted to comment on one thing there. Valuing oneself enough to trust your own decisions should be common practice. Well, I mean, yeah, but then Here's the thing about, like, confidence and arrogance. There's a fine line between them. Confidence is the idea that you're probably right, and arrogance is the idea that you couldn't be wrong. And whenever you trust yourself too much, you can stray into arrogance very, very easily. And, like, confidence is, like, a healthy degree of that, where you're still open to the possibility that you could be wrong. But anyway, I think that's why this game's story, your story, of a group of seemingly average people struggling to just find some solace while trying to deal with their own issues, both within and without, has appealed so much to me.
Oh my, some deep thoughts here.
Yes. Give us a second to read, Sayori. You got it. Okay, moving on.
Whether it's Sayori's ongoing fight with depression, similar to my wife's, Yuri's struggles with self-confidence, one that I can relate to, or even the group as a whole dealing with Fuyuki's cancer, a road my family and I have been down before, I find myself, like many, many others of this fandom, I imagine, drawn to your journey not just to follow some kind of narrative, but because of the parallels I see in your lives and my own. You're not caped crusaders. You're not super soldiers armed to the teeth. You're people. You're me, my wife, my friends, the strangers who pass by every day and don't think twice about what is going on in their lives. All of us, with our myriad collections of strengths and flaws, our small victories, and even our massive failures, do the best we can with what comes at us. I love you all for that and can't help but cheer for you. In the end, I just want to thank you for what this game, this mod, and your club have done. The mark you've left on me, the impact you've had, because if you can't keep going, then I know we can. I know I can. And on that note, but without hopefully too much whiplash from a tonal shift, questions!
I think I'm starting to understand what he's getting at. He feels better about those really mundane but hard personal struggles, because he sees us go through them too.
I hope you can keep going, my friend. We certainly will.
Blah blah, sappy sap sap, on to the questions!
Sayori, as the resident metalhead, what's your opinion on baby metal? Are there any other Japanese metal groups you're into or would suggest? I'm so impressed with your continued inner strength despite everything you've been through and how you find the will to keep fighting. You do realize you're quietly the central pillar supporting this whole endeavor, right? That is, I'm pretty sure if someone used one of those power meters from Dragon Ball Z to check your level, you'd easily be over 9,000 plus. May your rain clouds never linger long, and the chocolate chips in your cookies always be slightly gooey.
Oh, for me? Baby metal is awesome! I mean, what do you think I'd say about a metal band that has songs about eating chocolate? If you like them, I'd also say you should try out Mud Bites. Although they kind of broke up recently. The other Japanese metal band that I really like is Galnerius. Their music is just so pretty. It's really hard for metal to be pretty, but they do it. I don't really feel like I support everyone. Others support me much more than I support them. Especially MC and Monica. But, trying to tell myself that just because it feels that way, that's not how it is. Monica and MC and everyone else tell me that they need me, so I worked hard to believe my friends. Thank you for your kindness. Messages from you guys in the real world telling me how strong I am make me feel all fuzzy inside. Alright, let's move on.
Yuri, have you ever read any of Stephen King's The Dark Tower series? King can be hit or miss, for me usually, but his heptology, yes, I had to Google that, really delivers on the dark fantasy and horror vibes. Also wanted to add, as someone who spent most of their school years dealing with some form or another of teasing/bullying, don't let the bastards get you down. You've already found one of the best coping mechanisms like I did, a small, close circle of good friends that you can be yourself around and rely upon. You're intelligent, caring, and passionate about what you know. Let the slights and insults be as white noise to you, and take comfort in the fact that you're above any petty high school BS.
I do not aim with my hand. He who aims with his hand has forgotten the face of his father. I aim with my eye. I do not shoot with my hand. He who shoots with his hand has forgotten the face of his father. I shoot with my mind. I do not kill with my gun. He who kills with his gun has forgotten the face of his father. I kill with my heart.
I'm guessing she's quoting Stephen King.
What a wonderful quote. Yes, I have read all of The Dark Tower. I think it is wonderful. It has many weaknesses and strange moments and things that don't quite fit, of course. But that's usual for Stephen King. And overall, the story is very compelling, and the high moments are very memorable. I've never really cared about the teasing or bullying I get at the school. It's never really hurt me too much. The prattling of the ignorant does not affect the learned.
Wow, that's pretentious even for you, babe.
Ugh, and I dial every time she calls her that.
Even when they happen to be your girlfriend.
Shut up! Okay, enough flirting in the literature club.
You're all right. I am lucky to have wonderful support. And also much less actual teasing than I used to have over the past year or so. I wonder why. One of the popular girls must be looking out for me.
Next!
Natsuki, any favorite rap or hip-hop artists? I've heard you have some eclectic music tastes. What's in your playlist rotation as of late? On a personal note, I'm glad your sister is alright now and doing well. Seriously, fuck cancer. Regardless of how she recovered, probably the one time living in a reality built on ones and zeros was a plus. No one, including you and the rest of your family, should have to go through that. I don't think I need to tell you of all people, but nonetheless, stay strong and meme on.
Oh, the next part is for me. My favorite hip-hop artists are Doja Cat, Megan Thee Stallion, and DMX, may he rest in peace. He gonna deliver us from beyond the grave! I also really like Childish Gambino, although I'm not sure he counts as hip-hop, but I'd say yes. As to your question about just what I'm listening to, recently I'm listening to a lot of Portishead.
Did I read that right? Portishead? Portishead? I don't know.
Monica got me into them and they're trippy to listen to, strong recommend. Try Glory Box or Only You, fantastic tracks. And yeah, fuck cancer. Really glad Fuki made it through that. With Monica's help. Anyway, I will move on into the future, bud. Stay mans and hydrate. With memes.